You're listening to Wealth at Work, a show designed to help advisors think, make decisions, and cast a vision to create a business for the future. Hosted by financial planner, author, speaker, and CEO of Advisor2X, Ross Marino.
Welcome back, Jamie. How's it going today?
It's going well, thanks.
Glad to have you on the podcast. And of course, happy that you're once again going to be speaking at Wealth at Work. And I know last time we spoke, we talked about some new regulations, an act that came through, and it seems that it's finally starting to gain a little traction. Why don't you let us know what that is?
Absolutely. The Consolidated Appropriations Act, also known as the CAA, was about 6,000 pages, the largest piece of legislation that's been signed, actually. And about 200 of it had to do with healthcare and adding transparency to the healthcare market. And it is definitely starting to get some traction. Slow, similar to the 408B2 regs. When they came out, the whole industry said, it's not happening. It's not going to happen to us as retirement plan advisors. We're not going to have to disclose all of this, information and data. And lo and behold, we did. And this is exactly what's happening under the CAA for the healthcare brokers and other service providers.
When we started chatting about it and you mentioned it, I had to check myself because I wondered, was it a slow adoption and it just wasn't happening as quickly as people hoped? Or have I just not been paying attention? And you said, no, that's actually not the case of paying attention. It was a little slow, but now you're starting to see that it's picking up pace.
Absolutely. As I think I communicated to you, when we first started doing conversations and webinars around the CAA and the impact that it was going to have on employers, we would have, a handful of employers that might show up. This week alone, we had 200 employers attend a webinar focused on the CAA and the impact that it was going to have on them. So they are definitely starting to understand that there's a new sheriff in town, so to speak, called the CAA, and that the potential for expensive casualties for not fulfilling their fiduciary duties could be real. So they're starting to wake up.
Who's going to be afraid of the new sheriff in town?
The whole healthcare industry should be afraid of it, but more importantly, the employers, because what it's done is provide clarity to employers around who they pay, what they pay, and if it's in the best interest of their participants. And similar to what we saw when the regulators came into the retirement space and started to shed light, employers started to recognize that, hey, we're not doing things that are in the best interest of our participants. We need to start to change this market. And that's exactly what happened. Employers drove the change in the retirement space, whether it was due to the Department of Labor penalizing them or the lawsuits. The change came from the employers. And that's what I think we're going to see in the CAA as well. It's going to come from the employers.
Yeah, I think in the retirement space, the advisors, the advisory firms, they're incentivized to make plans better, to connect with new employers, to help the plan sponsors make better decisions. And yes, I've certainly seen that as being the driving force. Obviously, there's an opportunity for advisors here and for the firms out there. How would you break down the opportunity of this is what I think you can do over the next 1, 2, 3 years?
It's a rinse and repeat of what we saw in the retirement space. You're absolutely right. In the retirement space, going back 30 plus years ago, there was no standard, no standard for conduct. And then it became best interest, and then it became fiduciary. And when it became fiduciary, there was real skin in the game to make sure that we were moving the needle and that we were actually helping people retire. And that's the same thing in the healthcare space. Currently, right now, there's very low standards for success. And we're starting to see now with the Consolidated Appropriations Act, the realization that we've been overpaying for a lot of services we're not receiving. And when employers start to understand that they can have cost containment and better efficiencies, it will drive the market to change the standards. And because ERISA is overseeing both the healthcare and retirement space, and now the healthcare has transparency. So, advisors can get in there and really see what's going on. The fiduciary status will come to the healthcare space. So For me, I think advisors have a massive opportunity. We know this play. We know exactly how to set up a fiduciary process. We know how to adhere to it, and we know how to document it. It's all that they need to do in the healthcare space. The players are different. Some of the lingo and language is different, but in general, it's the same play.
Yeah, I guess if you have experience as a fiduciary, it can turn into, once you know the details and you know the language and you know what the process is, it's going to be rinse and repeat. Now, are there companies out there that are starting to do this? Or I'll just pivot. I was looking at OneVision. I was on the website. I'm pretty sure that's what it's about. Can you tell me about that?
Sure. So co-founded OneVision because, again, we know that now employers are going to have to start to benchmark their providers. There is no benchmarking services out there right now, so we are doing that. Employers are going to start to take a fiduciary eye to the procurement process around their healthcare spend. So we have actually developed a 80-page fiduciary playbook, which we've had blessed by not only ERISA attorneys, but litigators to ensure that we're protecting our clients from any potential litigation that they may have. So we're super excited. I have not seen another fiduciary, somebody that's actually said, I can be a fiduciary on the healthcare plan. We haven't seen that in the industry yet. So I think we're one of the only, if not the only ones out there doing that today.
That's exciting. So congrats on the launch. I love when I go to your LinkedIn profile, there's just seems to be something new popping up all the time. It's like, oh, what's Jamie doing?
We try to be where the puck is going, not where the puck is, right?
No doubt about it. Well, I'm looking forward to the session at Wealth at Work. I know the advisors will benefit if they go to it. Jamie, we'll see you in October.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Wealth at Work. The information covered and posted represents the views of the guests and does not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Advisor 2X. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investment advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.